Sorry about the dead air, folks. Alrighty.
Now, I would like to introduce the one, the only, me.
Hey, squiddies! It's Dre from Tattoo Squid Podcast here with Wayne from the podcast Florida Man on Florida Man. And we were talking about this, and I was very curious about it. And it's basically stuff that happens in Florida, but it's a running kind of myth
Yeah, that's the
for the
thing,
Florida
man.
Man.
Yeah, Florida Man is sometimes called the world's worst superhero. Anytime you see an article about Florida, it usually starts with Florida Man and then, finishes with something crazy he's done. So we built a show off of it.
Yeah. That's one way of doing it, though. It's like, hey, let's do it like this. Okay. How about you? Okay, that's fine. And you get there's three hosts
There's three
basically.
of us. Yeah, there's three of us. So yeah, I'm Wayne, and then I've got my brother Josh, and then our best friend Cameron. We've been in entertainment for about 20 years together, and started the show about 3.5 years ago.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I seen you on like Twitter like a lot and everything else, and I'm like, I've been trying to get like a lot of different styles of people coming on.
Sure.
Whether it's like horror or whatever, and if they do like different stuff, and there was a guy I was talking to, That Love podcast, where he was doing everything from uh like love scenes, but doing it out of his own. He's a writer, so he was writing his own stuff, and then they were acting it out with actors.
That's cool. That's
So
crazy.
like, and he's from England too. London.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's the great thing about podcasting, man, is like it really is a medium for everybody. I mean, you whatever you're into, whatever you enjoy, there's a podcast about it, which is really neat.
Yeah, I mean, there's like people like, oh, we're gonna do a podcast about porn. Oh, we're gonna do a podcast about drinking. You know, hey, Trey, what's yours? Mine's about pretty much anything.
Yeah.
you know, but yeah. So, or as we call one person dubbed me as a late night talk show host kind of thing of podcasting.
That's
So,
cool. Yeah,
okay.
I'm here for it, man. Whatever you want to talk about, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, basically, how about like movies? What kind of movies that you, or what happens when you finish the pandemic? What's the first thing that you went to?
The first movie I saw back in theater after the pandemic was A Quiet Place Part Two.
I still have not seen it.
A
I was,
lot of fun, man.
I was on a Wheel of Horror, and they were going through different movies and everything else, and I'm like, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I think I'm more like a retro kind of guy, I guess.
Sure.
You
I
know,
Dude, I love watching film though, man. I'm one of those guys. I fell for the movie pass early on. You remember that? It was like a $5 deal, $10 deal, and you could see
yeah.
the movies. And I did that probably four nights a week. I don't really mind the genre. Just whatever the movie is, I want to see it and then
Yeah.
talk about it. Yeah.
Whenever I see something that's interesting to me, like even on TV, like I'll go and watch like there's different kinds of platforms that you can go and look at. Like
Right.
there's one called like well, you got Hulu, you got all the major mainstream ones, but then you got ones called Crackle or Tubi, and Tubi has like everything you could think of, like unknown stuff, known stuff,
Right.
TV series that you haven't seen since you're like 10, 11 years old,
Yeah.
like Knight Rider, fucking A-Team, Buck Rogers,
Yeah.
and that'll be good for the episode art. Haha, Buck Rogers.
Yeah, dude. Tubi's a great platform because I'm pretty sure it's free, right? With ads.
Yeah, yeah, that's the only thing about it. It has ads. It's almost like watching really, TV and all that.
Right.
So, but I was watching. There's one called Rawhigh Rex,
Okay.
and that's like more like a horror thing. And well, it was all right, But then all of a sudden I start turning the channels, and I'm like, witchcraft, yeah.
Yeah.
Which basically is like a early '80s, like talking about the Ouija board, you know,
Okay.
and it had the lead singer, White Snake. I don't know how good of music that you're into, but
Yeah.
there's a band called White Snake back in the '80s.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he was married to a girl named Tawny Contain, who actually passed away, I think, like a year and a half ago, maybe two. And she was in the movie, and so she played a person that's married, but they get this house, and then they go and get like people over, and they want to play a game, so they're playing with the Ouija board, and they kind of like unlock something, and now the entity is like in love with the girl or something.
Really?
Or I don't know if it's in love, but then just does crazy stuff to other people and just follows
Sure.
them around. So, wait,
Sure.
now are you a very superstitious person too, or
Not really, no. But you know what? It's interesting because my family, we're an old Irish family, and so my parents, their parents immigrated here to America, and so my grandmother is very superstitious. And growing up, she would tell me things when I was young that I thought were just true. She was like, you can't sweep your house after 8 p.m. And I was like, okay. I just never did it. You know what I mean? That was like it was an
really?
old, yeah, it was an old Irish superstition. And little things like that. And I don't think I realized until I was in my 20s that she just, it was old folklore. None of it really had any, essence
Yeah.
and truth necessarily.
So,
But
wait, what was that? Never sweep after 8?
sweep your house after 8 p.m. or bad things will happen.
Huh?
That's what she used to say. Yeah. So she was always done with her chores before 8 p.m.
There was actually a because I used to do. I mean, like I said, I love horror movies. I love
Yeah.
horror stuff. I always went to like I love flea markets. So whenever I see a flea
Same.
market, folks, if you've ever been to a flea market, go to a flea market. You'll love it. It's like everything you could think of. When I seen the flea market when I was like a wee lad, and it was a old drive-in movie theater area,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they would use it for like I guess like when it was like October, November, or something like that, where you couldn't really go. I mean, you could go to the drive-in and all that, but they would have this flea market where everybody had their tents up and everything else. And my first purchase, my mom and dad gave me money, and it's like $5 for a skull ring. You know,
That's so cool, dude.
so and I got the skull ring, and then every time we went there, I always got another skull ring, and I got another one. So now my friends, they have a shop that's in the flea market,
Okay.
and guess what they sell?
Skull rings.
Skull rings, necklaces,
No way.
everything else, and knives, swords, and
Come
everything
on.
else. Oh, dude, you
We've
gotta,
got we've got one of those in our hometown, man. It was an old drive-in movie theater that they converted to a flea market.
yeah,
And when the great thing about it is, it's kind of like podcasting. You get a ton of people who are just they're good at something in particular,
yeah.
and they've opened up a shop. You know what I mean? And you get to go through and see them all.
No, no, like I have a shop, hey, and you got a shop probably too.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
just check them out, and you can
Yeah,
get shower curtains.
yeah, exactly. What? So if you had a shop at a flea market, what would be your thing? What would you move?
You know what? You know what's funny? Because my friends were asking, because that's what I was gonna do in the beginning before I found out about podcasting.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to go and do what they're doing, but I didn't want to do exactly what they're doing because I don't want to step on their toes.
Right, right.
So I was like thinking like getting crazy, crazy fucking shirts.
That's cool. Like just wild beyond belief shirts.
Yeah, but you get shirts now that's online, like $5 shirts or T-shirt hell. There's one called,
Right.
and they have all this crazy sayings, all these like obnoxious sayings, or some kind of pictures of like Friday the 13th or something, and
Right.
it was just like something like that. But I wanted to just do like crazy, but I couldn't really think of anything, and then that means like more money to put into And I was like, I don't really have the money to do that, and
Mm.
whatever. But and then I was going to go with them and follow them around to different flea market areas that they go to, and then try to sell it for, I don't know, like $14, like a shirt or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
But then all of a sudden I found out about podcasting, and I'm like, okay. And then after, like I said, like 100 episodes or whatever, I was like, I said to my girlfriend, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll try to sell shirts. She goes, well, wait a little bit longer, and I don't know if we're ready. You're ready for that. I'm like, Then I found one of the podcasters recommended a shop called Threadless.
Okay. Yep.
And I tried it out and I love it, and they have all these different shit, and I could not size pictures for the life of me. I'm like, how do I do this shit? And somebody helped me out, and what's done is done, so everything's good. And
Come on, man.
so it was all,
So are you on Threadless right now?
yeah, still on Threadless, and
That's cool.
I'm not gonna do anything different from it, because I like the way they have different stuff, and they always add on certain stuff they can, like they got, this mask on there. There's books, like, you can use books like that, but your logo on it.
Sure.
Knapsacks, bath mats, and I say this too, Rico, and I said this before. Shower curtains.
Yeah.
Shower
Are those a big seller?
I don't know, but I think I'm probably the only one that has to, because every time I talk to people, I said shower curtains. Like, what do you mean shower curtains? You got shower? I'm like, yeah, it's on there.
That's cool, man. That's
So
awesome.
I'm like waiting for somebody, folks. If anybody buys a shower curtain, fucking take a picture of it, tag me on it. That's
That's
it.
cool. Yeah.
Because
That's awesome, man.
because it's like one picture has, well, not this background, but like the tattoo squid logo that
Right.
you see, and then there's one that's like a bluish kind of logo, and then I have like different other color ones, and then I got like a caricature thing I made out of my face. So basically, it's me looking at you while you're taking a shower, almost. Yeah.
Come on, that's a vibe, dude.
Not to be weird, folks.
Right.
Yeah. I am not actually looking. Just don't look at the camera.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there's somebody that'll buy it.
yeah, somebody's gonna like. There's a camera. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, there's no camera involved. But yeah, it's like it's an awesome site thing, and I like it. And hopefully there's gonna be some more shit on there, and I'll be like, okay. I bought a bunch of stuff as it is myself, so if I'm getting money, it's probably from myself.
Well, that's the cool thing about it, man, is that it gives you the option to just create stuff. I mean, honestly, it's therapeutic. So whatever you're making and putting out there, I mean, if someone buys it, that's awesome, but it's almost like a bonus because you're getting to create it, which is in and of itself is really neat.
Yeah. It's like, and also I get to meet like people and everything else, like yourself and like
Sure.
boomers, whatever. Because right now I think it's like episode. My girlfriend tells me every time to write down the episode numbers, and I'm like, yeah, if I just go by the calendar, I just, then I know where I'm at.
Right.
But I think there's like probably like 68, 69, something like that.
That's cool, man.
For the second season. So all together it's like 168. So yeah, but it's just crazy how. But what kind of what movies are you like into? I don't know if did I ask that already. I don't know.
No, what? No, you, dude. Honestly, like one of my favorite movies of all time is a movie called No Country for Old Men.
The gun with
Yeah, the silencer shotgun, man.
Yeah, oh yeah, with the air.
Oh, the air compressor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, and I'm a big fan of just movies that are patient. Like I don't mind if it's a slow film, as long as the payoff is worth it. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't mind sitting through the first couple hours as long as like the ending is, rocks your world. And I really enjoyed that movie. And another film called Whiplash, if you've ever seen it, about a drummer. It's really intense, man. J.K. Simmons is in it, and it's about a kid that goes to a music school, and the teacher is just like really aggressive, borderline abusive. But the teachers also train some legends, and so the boy wants to be a legend. And so it's like a drama, but it's pretty intense, man. Really stressful. But I enjoyed both those films a lot.
There's actually there's an article I read about a drummer, and I don't know if it's from COVID or I'm not sure exactly, but he had something wrong, and he felt himself being thrust into hell and dipped into like some kind of lava thing, and it was just like
Wow.
so crazy when you read about it. And I don't really know all the details. I had it on my phone. I forgot where it is, um, but then he woke up. Like the nurse, like actually, he was like in a coma for like a year, and the whole
Mm.
time he felt like he was in hell. You know, the whole time, and he woke up and like it's like you're awake. It's like, am I still in hell? Am I still?
Wow.
Or it was like something about it was a devil, but it was like some kind of woman or something, and I don't know what it was. Oh my god! It's like
Wow. I mean, dude, it's amazing though, man. I've read stuff like that before, and I mean, I've never been through it, thankfully, but the brain's very powerful.
yeah, yeah,
It's very, very powerful, you know. I mean, like on a smaller scale, you ever had those dreams where you wake up and it takes a second to realize that you're not dreaming, that you're awake, you know, and
yeah.
I would imagine it's like that, but just multiplied.
I always had a problem. Like not really a problem. I always had, whenever I had dreams. I mean, they're weird ones as is. Hence, I'm the weird guy. But I would go and there was a thing where some people would watch horror movies,
Sure.
and they would say that people who watch horror movies are psychopaths. But
Mm.
if you no, wait, if you watch horror movies and you can sleep
Hmm.
soundly, without having any nightmares of any sorts, and that you're like some sort of sociopath or psychopath or whatever. And I'm
Hmm.
like, no, I think it this way. I'm looking at the movies, and it's a horror movie. I'm like, okay, I know it's a guy that's wearing a mask and everything else, so it's not like holy shit, it's just like real
Right.
life.
Well, and
Yeah,
that's also a very unfair characterization because like, a lot of people can watch sad movies and then not get sad and go
yeah,
to bed. Why is it that the onus is on horror films? I mean, like if it's make believe, like you said, you're watching a film, it's entertainment, it's something creative, and
yeah.
then you go to bed afterwards. Big deal. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's like a thing like my girlfriend would go and I love anime. I watch horror movies, anime, anything that has like a plot that has something of substance that can that gets me like drawn in.
Heck yeah.
And so I'll watch whatever, and then for some reason she woke up one night, or she was dreaming actually of an anime character, and I'm like,
Wow.
you don't watch anime.
Huh.
I'm like, how the heck can you do it? Like, and then she goes, I don't know. I dreamt it, and I woke up, and we have like a chair that's next to the bed, which is basically just a chair, sit down, watch TV, and then if you're tired, just crawl on the bed or whatever.
Right.
And she like woke up, looked at the chair, and then there was like an anime character like sitting in the chair, just looking at her,
Wow.
and I'm like, okay, I have a tendency to have like a dream of like zombies like circling around the bed, you know.
Yeah.
And then I wake up and I look, and then they stop and they turn around and then they look down,
Hmm.
and then they just back up and they fade away and all that. So, but
Well, I think there is something, in that there's a like an in between, like before you wake up and before you're really awake, like your brain is still dreaming a little bit, but your body doesn't realize it and it's trying to wake up. I mean, that could be what happened. It's a very
yeah,
common thing, I think. And
especially. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
she probably picked up the anime maybe subconsciously from you, being in the room when you watch it or walking by when you watch it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. That's what I figured too. Because I'll sit in like in the living room. Sometimes she'll come out there and grab like something to drink or something to eat, and then come walk back, and then like, hmm,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going.
Yeah. What's your favorite anime? Like, what are you watching right now?
Um, well, I love Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
Cowboy Bebop is like my favorite one. I would go Dragon Ball Z. Um, the ones I started getting into, I've heard of like Attack on
Attack on
Titan.
Titan. Yeah.
So I love that one. I just love the graphics of it. There's another one called Parasite that I
Okay.
started watching, and that one is just like fucking awesome.
Yeah.
What else is there? Um, when you're younger, Speed Racer, but that's technically it is anime in some certain point. But
Sure.
are you like into anime or?
I am a little bit. I have some friends of mine that are really into it, and when you watch somebody enjoy something, it's contagious. You know what I mean? And so I started watching One Piece with them. It's about pirates. That was pretty cool. And then Attack on Titan. We watched some of that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just I love watching what other people enjoy. You know what I mean? Like if I might watch a movie and I might kind of enjoy it, but if you show me a movie that you really enjoy, it's gonna make me like it more because I know you enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like so, anime is like that for me.
Yeah. All right. Since you brought that one up, watch this movie. Now you
Okay.
probably heard it when I was talking with Josh G. But if you haven't, there's a movie that I love. It's called Grandma's Boy.
Okay. I haven't seen that.
So go. I don't know where you can be able to find it. I think you can, rent it, on TV or whatever. But it's an Adam Sandler, as they call it, Adam Sandler joint.
Okay.
Uh, so it has, pretty much anybody that's been in the Adam Sandler movies. Pretty much like a reoccurrence.
Right.
Like Happy Gilmore. Like you see Adam Sandler on there and he's golfing. The
Yeah.
guy that played the caddy.
I got you. Yeah, he's in there, right?
Yeah, he's in the movie. Doris Roberts.
Okay.
God rest her soul. And with Doris Roberts, not Keaton, Kevin Nealon.
Okay.
He's in it, and then there's the woman that played Thelma in the Scooby Doo movies.
Okay. Yeah.
Linda something. Linda, I can't remember the name.
Yeah. I don't remember her name, but I know who she is.
Yeah, and she's in it, and Jonah Hill.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's a good, and actually they got a couple of wrestlers in there that you've probably seen, and yeah. So
It's called Grandma's Boy.
Grandma's Boy.
I'll add it to my list.
Yeah, it's basically it's about video games.
Okay.
Has a lot of drug use.
Okay.
And it's like just older guys making video games,
Really?
and one guy is supposed to be like a prodigy, like a young prodigy that he can make video games and they sell for millions of dollars or whatever.
That's
But
cool.
he puts everybody down. But they're the ones that kind of make the game what it is, but then he takes the credit.
Okay. I got you.
You,
That's
you know what
cool.
I mean? So, but
Yeah.
then, like I said, there's a lot more drug use, and then it's pretty much like Adam Sandler and all comedians that are in it.
Right.
And it's just fucking funny as hell,
I'm,
especially
I,
Buck Roberts.
yeah, dude. I remember reading one time, because Adam Sandler, it kind of feels like he makes films in exotic locations just so he and his friends can go on vacation and make a movie. You know what I mean? Like, because all of his movies have the same people in it. They're all his friends. You know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the money and you have the means,
100%.
do it.
I do it.
Shit, I'm like, hey, anybody want to go to fucking Bahamas? Let's go. Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, why wouldn't you want to work with your best friends? You know what I mean? Like that's what makes it enjoyable.
especially when you just tell them what to do. I'm like, all right, listen, when I tell you to go and try home that llama, I said do it.
Right,
Yeah. And you're not going to get the money yet. So,
right.
or I don't know. I'm just using I'm not saying for anybody to really go try home a llama. But but any music kind of favorites.
Yeah, I like some of the classics. And one of the newer artists that I'm really into is a guy named Bonnie Vare. He came on the scene about 10 years ago and he wrote a record in his basement and then went on to win a Grammy with it. And that's kind of what turned me on to him. Really good stuff. Favorite band growing up, love Freddie Mercury, love Queen. Just an
Okay.
amazing performer. Was in a Metallica phase for a little while. But yeah, I'm all over, man. I play a little music, so I just my moods shift month to month, but depending on what I listen to. But yeah, how
Yeah.
about you? What do you listen to?
I'm more like metal, so I just
Okay.
listen to anything that's metal and well, it's like rock and metal. I'm on like a Parkway Drive kick.
Okay.
So they got this like they got a bunch of albums, but there's one Revelance, I think it's called.
Okay.
Um, and I saw it kind of reminds me of Five Finger Death Punch.
Okay. Okay.
It has like that kind of feel where they have the soothing ballad songs, but they have some heavy, you know, um, like tunes and all that that can make it more popular as it
Cool.
is. Like they had this one. They got three of them. One's called Wishing Well. I forgot what the name of that one. But the one I really like is called The Void.
Okay.
And I saw the video. They had like a video. They were in Wacken or something, like a town in. It could be Wacken, Germany, or Wacken, Texas. I don't know. But they were in this, and it's like thousands and thousands. It's like 73,000 like audience.
Wow.
And there's like they're playing, and while they're playing, like sparks would just keep on going in front of them, on top of
Yeah.
them, and it's just like it was awesome. I'm like, oh man, it's like a Five Finger Death Punch kind of thing, and
Yeah.
I know, son. You see, like a guy, we call it. I don't know what the significance is because they were what the bass player was like sitting in a wheelchair, but in the beginning of the whole thing, he was walking. So I don't know if there's a friend of theirs that is in a wheelchair that he's paying homage to. I guess
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but you see, like in a crowd, that there's a guy in a wheelchair, and they're hoisting him up like on the wheelchair, like going across, like crowd surfing
That's cool.
with the wheelchair, and
Yeah.
with the wheelchair like behind the barricade where the security guards are at, and he's just rolling, going, "Yeah, motherfucker,"
Yeah, that's cool.
So
Dude,
I'm like,
honestly, man, that's what makes, I mean, what makes a band so entertaining really is the live show. I've listened to bands that I probably would not have enjoyed had I not seen a concert first. You know what I mean? That you see the concert and then you see the passion they have behind it, and you see
yeah.
how much their fans are into it, and it kind of makes the music better afterwards.
What's the last concert you went to actually?
The last one I went to before COVID, some friends of ours, we partnered with a festival, and it was called the Florida Man Festival. iHeartRadio and an Orlando station in Florida put this festival on, and it was a band called the 1975. So we partnered with them to help promote it. So that happened 2 weeks before everything shut down.
Oh,
So
good.
we had no idea, man, when we went to that show that that was going to be the last one we were going to see, for 2 or 3 years. But it was a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun.
Yeah, because nowadays it's like I love watching, and I've seen like reaction videos that people do,
Right.
and they're watching these videos, like they're watching like Metallica, they're watching uh whatever band that there is, even Parkway Drive. I think they're like doing reactions, and the same thing you see. What happens is like look how many people there is.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
they're sheltered. I mean, they're like in the house mostly, and they only see stuff that's on YouTube, like the bands were playing like some YouTube thing from
Right.
different from their different house or whatever, just like
Right.
some kind of little concert. I don't know. So,
Well,
but
there was a point in time, man. I think early on in 2020 where, a lot of people thought they'd never see a concert again. No one
yeah.
really knew what to expect, and now my wife and I actually just watched a Coldplay concert on YouTube. And it was the first show they've done since the pandemic. It was in Seattle, I think, or maybe in Canada, but somewhere in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And it was good to see everybody back doing shows again.
I mean, and even a lot better because like when we started watching stuff happen when COVID hit, like basketball, they weren't doing it because they didn't want to get anybody infected, so they stopped playing basketball,
Right,
and then
right.
they stopped doing this, and even wrestling. And I love watching wrestling, and then which was weird because I watch it like whenever I get a chance, but also now with when COVID happened, I'm like I haven't watched it. You know,
Right.
even though they tried doing stuff, uh, like certain certain organizations, they would go and do um, like just wrestle by themselves and have like no audience. You know, just
Oh, right,
they'll
right.
just wrestle, or they'll have like TV screens, like an old Max Headroom thing or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like ooh, Max Headroom. Oh, that'd be a good one. That's good for the episode art actually.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
and that's the thing too, man. Is that's what we were saying earlier. The show itself makes a difference because, like you were saying, you watch the match, but there's no crowd there. You know what I mean? Like it just feels drastically different. Like it's so much better when there's a ton of people there enjoying it. You know?
yeah, I mean it's great. Like the last concert, I hate to say this, like the last concert I have seen was Down, and that was like 2003, I
Oh
think.
wow,
I mean, I would go. I don't usually go like everybody else goes, like by themselves, or they get taken. Like, listen, I'm going to go and see these guys,
sure.
and I'm like, I like to go in a group, but then half the time the group, wants to go into the floor, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine, that's great. I just don't want to get kicked in the head.
Right, right.
And I was lucky enough to have like friends that I work with, and one of them supposedly in the beginning, he's like, "Oh, I know the band. I can get us backstage." I'm like, "Okay, sure. Blow smoke up our asses, I guess. All right,
Mm-hmm.
whatever." And so we went, and we had nothing to fucking do. And we went on the train. We got on the train. We had beer, and well, I brought beer. You're not supposed to bring beer on a train, and I thought you could. So I downed the whole like two fucking 40 ounces, and we got down there and we got backstage. When not backstage, we got to the VIP seating, which was like another stage next to it,
Right, right.
and pretty much like they're here, and all of a sudden you're watching like right here. So it's
That's
like
cool.
I'm like nice, and we had a one little bar, but you still had to pay a certain amount. And then we got backstage, and I was like, all right, cool, And then they start passing this, going getting a couple of drinks, and I'm like, all right, cool, food, and they got the catering and everything else, and
Mm.
talking to the band, a couple of people from the band, and they were like, hey, yeah, you want to try this? And they hand me they hand me a pipe, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, cool. I'm gonna try this out, because I
Sure.
smoked cigarettes and everything else. I'm like, I don't want to be a loser, But people don't take stuff from people you don't know.
Sure, yeah.
um, but for me, we called it was like hanging out, having a good time. And my foreman, that the one that knows the band, and he looked at me. He goes, "Don't smoke that. You know what the hell is in it?" And I'm like, "This coming from the guy that did cocaine on a table at cafeteria."
Right, yeah. So
At work.
yeah. So this is after the concert. This is happening.
Yeah, this is after.
Okay.
So I smoked it. I was like, all right, whatever. It was a pipe, so like the little, like, hey, hello. I'm like going to sit in my room and smoke this pipe and drink my cognac kind of thing.
Sure,
Like
sure.
that kind of pipe. It wasn't like a pipe.
Right.
And we called. So then all of a sudden, after everything was going on, and we went to the tour bus.
Okay.
I thought the night was gonna end with the thing. I was happy as shit.
Right.
I'm like, oh, we're going on a tour bus. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then we had a couple more beers, hanging out with the guitars, blah blah blah. Here comes the lead singer. He's a little bit out of it. I'm like, okay. And then we got, then we got on the train and fell asleep. But then we got to the train station, and I'm sitting there, and I did not know we were at the train station. All of a sudden, I looked at my foreman, and I'm like, when are we getting to Penn Station? And all of a sudden, he goes, motherfucker, we're in Penn Station. I told you not to smoke that fucking pipe. you know?
No.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Did you ever? So you never figured out what was in it?
No, not really. But I at that point I got the phone number from the guitarist of the band. So every once in a while, not now, but like years before, uh, I'll be sitting at a bar where my brother-in-law he'll be guest bartending,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden after I get like the very like not the first cell phone I had, but like maybe the third or fourth one, and back in those days, cell phones weren't like big like it is now,
Sure, sure.
and all of a sudden I look at his number and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And I'm like, hello. It's like, yeah, you called me, and I'm like, Kirk, is this you? He goes, Trey. And I'm
That's
like,
cool.
what you calling me for? He goes, I thought you called me. And I'm like, no. All right, Merry Christmas. He goes, Merry Christmas to you too, buddy. And I'm like, okay, yeah. So, Kirk, if you're hearing this, fuck you. But no, but yeah, but I mean that's like that's the only time I think I met like celebrity musician wise.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that changed my life, and I started listening more metal than I usually do. Yeah, so
Yeah. So that was in 2003, you said, right?
yeah, it's somewhere around there. I mean, because I know
Yeah.
I work in the company I was working at, and it was like because I met my wife like around 2000, so it had to be like a year, maybe two or something like that, like
Okay.
afterwards, because
Yeah.
we were living together at that time. So
Yeah, so I mean that the thing about it is, man, is like your experience with the band, like you said, kind of got you like more so into metal. Like, I mean, it's just cool that they were like hanging out with you guys, and like it shows you they were just it was more than just the music for them. They were decent guys to be around.
yeah, yeah,
And it,
it was awesome. It was like, and actually the bassist, he's like, your name Andre, right? I'm like, yeah, my name's Andre. He goes, like Andre the Giant,
right,
like. Yeah, somewhat. He goes, I'm calling you Andre the Giant from now on. I'm like, okay.
that's so cool, man.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
so
Do you still listen to those guys?
I listen to it every once in a while because they don't. I mean, they got the album out, but they don't tour around as much as it. Well, obviously, but I mean, they didn't really get together as it is. They're doing
Sure.
their separate shit, and they got separate bands, and it was like a super group actually.
Right,
So it's like you had the bassist and the bassist and singer of Pantera,
right,
and then there's a singer guitarist from Corrosion of Conformity, another guitarist for Crowbar, and a drummer pretty much that drums for anybody that wanted him to play drums.
right.
So and then that was it, and like so I met like Phil and Rex, which is Pantera, which is like my favorite band of all time.
Really?
Like rock out with all that stuff, and I was like, I was dumbfounded. Especially Rex, because I'm like, I love bass, and I have like a bass guitar, but I only dabble in it,
Sure.
so I'm not really one to do the chords, and I'll fuck around with it whenever I get a chance,
Sure.
um, but now I'm more a knife collector of sorts, and hence the guy with that has a flea market, that sells the skulls and all that and knives, and pretty much I got like everything that he sells, and he has like the same amount. So
That's cool, man.
and we always talk about different shit. Be like, hey, what kind of knife you got now?
Yeah. Honestly, man, knife collecting is a big deal. I mean, I've got some friends of mine that are into it, and there's a lot of care that goes into it with the blades, and it's fascinating. I love watching people love stuff, and I still have the old Gerber knife that my dad gave me when I was a teenager. So
Oh yes.
those things are classic. So that's really cool.
That's like the basic thing for like a dad to do. It's like, hey, we're gonna give you this knife. It's like,
Yeah,
just
it's a very dad thing.
you know,
Yeah,
like that. So it's like, hey, it has a spoon. Look,
right,
you
exactly.
know? And then yeah, but then nowadays you get like the whole thing. You get the spoon, you get the wrench, you got the pliers. You have this, that, and then you're like, oh well, I guess a serial killer would take this one too. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
So, but yeah, what kind of do you still collect stuff like that, or are you just like, eh?
I don't collect stuff as much anymore. And yeah, I'm not sure why that ended. I think mostly in my 20s, did a lot of music and stuff and traveled around a lot. So I didn't have a lot of space to keep stuff, you
Yeah.
know? And now we're doing podcasting, so we have a little bit more room. But I got out of collecting stuff, and I wish I didn't, but it's just one of those things. But
Yeah, like you said, we call it the knives and all that. It's like collector's items, basically.
right.
So you can be able to, like, I'm holding on to them because I know if I give it to my nephews and see if they'll whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, and they may appreciate them, and the cool thing about it is, man, is like a lot of those things, they gain value the longer you have them.
yeah,
So, if you can give them to your nephews or give them to somebody else, I mean, if they appreciate it and you teach them about it, I mean, it'll be worth even more to them.
yeah. Because I'm looking at like, because I also figured, I'm like, because I'm like, you get like, I seen one tattoo already, but yeah. Are you because I was talking about like seeing about like maybe my nephew was gonna probably go and say, hey, when I turn certain day, certain age, it's like, where can I get a good tattoo? And I'm like,
Right.
really? So
Yeah, dude, I mean, honestly, man, like that if I guess that's the closest I have to anything that I collect right now is tattoos. I love tattoos.
yeah,
And so there's a guy in our town that the shop's called Black Swan, and that's where most of us go.
like
Guy
the
named,
movie.
just like the movie, yeah, a guy named Corey Kraft, man, is the main artist there, one of the owners, and we've been going there for probably since after high school. We've been
Oh,
going there
okay.
for a very long time. Yeah,
Yeah, I go to different ones. I mean, I try not to go to different ones. They're always saying stick with one artist,
sure.
and I started out with like two little ones at one place, and then I went to this other place and got one, and I went to this other place and got another one. I guess it was like collecting art, I guess,
Right.
but then I moved to Pennsylvania and met this guy, and we're friends. Now I don't really see him or talk to him, and because I don't know where he is. Um, but he did most of my shit as it is, so I got like everything from just all the arms and
Heck yeah, dude.
going across and the legs and parts of the back. Well, no, actually two shoulders and. But then I went to somebody just not recently, but maybe a couple months ago. Got like a squid, so I had to get something to match up my name.
Yeah, man, that's cool.
So, well, how many tattoos you got?
Coming on 15. I kind of enjoy the kind of Sailor Jerry traditional look
Nice.
for most of my stuff, and so it's kind of piecemeal on my chest and arms and shoulders and back.
Yeah.
And I might connect them one day and finish the sleeve. I don't know, but I average one or two a year, and so we'll see. But they're so dang expensive, man. Honestly, like that's the part of the hobby that's frustrating is if they were cheaper, I'd have a lot more.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta like I was lucky enough to find a person and then become friends and not being in charge so much. I would go
Sure.
help out at the shop and be like the helper kind of thing, and then you get the perks.
Right, right, right.
So that's like the key thing. So, folks, if you really want to get tattooed and you really love them and you got one or two done already, and just go to a shop and help them out over there, and this and that, you might get some free shit or something that's less than 100.
Yeah, that's good advice, man.
I mean that's what I did, and he wanted to show me how to tattoo. I'm like, I only know how to do like stick figures. Yeah, so I'm like,
Yeah.
unless I'm gonna charge like $100 a stick figure, I'm like, yeah, forget it. And plus at that time I was like 43 or something like that. I'm like, that's like teaching an old guy.
Well, and honestly, dude, that's stressful because, like, with tattooing, it's art, but it's permanent.
Yeah,
So, you know what I mean? That would stress me out. I mean, I couldn't imagine like that pressure they're under to, yeah, obviously, they do the little trace first, but it's still stressful, putting something permanent on somebody.
yeah, that's the other thing because I'm like, I don't know if I can be able to just go because I seen other tattoo artists and actually one or two of them that was under the guy that did mine we call it, and he was like, all right, now here, tattoo something on my leg. And you see, like, well, you know how the tattoo machine goes, right?
Right.
So, now, folks, if you don't know, if you're watching this too, I mean, when you're listening, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Just watch the video. Anyway, so, so when they tattoo them, they get the lines and everything else, they get the needles coming out from the ends. This guy did it where you're supposed to go like, like you're drawing.
Right.
This guy went, like, all right, like, you see my finger?
Yeah. Just like jabbing it in there.
It's like right in there and then going along like this.
Wow.
So, and then I'm like, holy shit, because that dip that comes out where the needle
Right.
is not supposed to be on your skin.
Right. Sure.
It's supposed to be like this doing. I'm like, and then my territories are just like, I'm like, and I'm looking at going, holy shit,
Right.
And I was like, and then there was like stuff that happens. Like, you see a lot of shit in different shops.
Right. Yeah.
The stories in it as it is, and I got mistaken for being a tattoo artist.
Really.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like the computer, like the ear, I'll be like looking at the things, seeing what I want to get next, and he'll let me have that free reign of going behind there and just checking out shit I want to do or want to get done. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, here comes we call it customers coming in. It's like, excuse me, how much would this be, and on my back, this, that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I'm the customer. And they're like, holy shit, really?
So, well, I mean, dude, honestly, man, like, I mean, like, I would probably fall for it as well. I mean, because you're behind the counter, you got a lot of tattoos on yourself too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You look like an artist.
But, yeah, but that was the whole thing. Because then all of a sudden after we called the tattoo artist was telling them, and it's like, and even when they did, what the hell was it called? Like Friday the 13th tattoos or cancer ribbon tattoos or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
They always had some kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
And they needed help. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll
Yeah.
help
That's
them
cool,
out.
man. That's
But
awesome.
they'll look at me like, they said that people was like, listen, he has more tattoos than we do,
Right.
and
Dude.
he's the customer, So,
Yeah. It's all
but
about their relationships. That's awesome.
yeah, it's just the way it is. So, see, folks, this is what we talk. We talk about relationships and between tattoo artists and their customers, and
That's right.
and music and their musicians and podcasters and you fans.
It all comes back to relationships.
Yeah, there you go. It's all relationships. We're not Dr. Roof. We're not, I mean, sometimes everybody thinks they're Dr. Roof, but but what's going on with Florida Man on Florida Man? Anything new gonna happen? Anything in the works? Or
Yeah, man. Yeah, back in January, we launched the Spanish language version of our show, and so we brought on a new host. Her name is Alina, and so she handles the international version of our podcast. And then in the first week of June, we're launching the children's version of our show. It's our show, but for kids. And we launched a morning show 2 weeks ago. So a lot happening in our world right now. But it's been good, man. It's as long as people continue to listen, we'll continue to make stuff. So it's been really fortunate that people actually tune in to listen.
you're like a whole cohesive like UNICEF. Or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say anything like like something bad, or anything. But I'm like, you're doing a children's version. There's an international version. You're like your own like news. What the hell? Like a news channel or something. It's like
We're trying our best. I think we believe in what we're doing,
yeah,
and we want something. The parents listen to the show, so we want something safe for the kids. And as far as the Spanish language version goes, we heard so many stories of people who were first generation Americans and their parents wanted to listen but they couldn't. And it's one of those things where we just wanted to be able to offer it to as many people as possible. And like I said, we're fortunate that anybody listens, so we'll do our best to get it as far and wide as we can.
Yeah, I mean, well, how does one go and do that? I mean, like like for children's versions and the international version. I mean, obviously you have somebody that is like international
Right.
wise, so that's one,
Right.
But how you do something for like children's version?
We were very fortunate in both scenarios. The host that hosts our international version, she does that for a living. It's all she's ever wanted to do. And so that worked out when we stumbled upon her. And then with the children's version, when we kind of decided we wanted to do that, we just started interviewing people and trying to find the right person that we felt like could really carry our vision forward with it. And so it's a girl named Madeline, and she is an actress. She was a social worker prior to doing this, and we just knew that she was the one, man. She has a passion and a love for kids, and it was a perfect fit.
Oh, okay. So basically you have an adult version, I guess,
Yep, yep,
and then you got the international, and then you're gonna have the children's version.
right, yeah,
Um, and with the Spanish language part as well. So,
right,
I mean,
yeah,
that's cool. I haven't really heard any, because when I hear about like, okay, the children's version, I can understand. We call it, doing something for the kids wise. Do like a kids like kid friendly.
right.
In the actual, wouldn't that be like be able to, like when they listen to podcasts, we call it in their country. Wouldn't it be coming through like an international part? I guess I don't know.
Right, yeah. So right now it's just the Spanish language. And so what she does is she takes the transcripts from our normal show, the regular show, and she will then just because she speaks multiple languages, she'll just translate it and then re-record it. And so that's how we do that one. And so we do everything here in our studio in Florida. It's it's always worth it, man. When you hear about the folks that enjoy it and they find joy from it, it's worth all the extra work, you know.
Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. We call it that. That's something. Like I said, there's something that I've never heard, even for myself. I always put the explicit,
Sure.
because I'm always like, saying like, well, now haven't really said like many curses as it is, but trying to be professional here. But other times I curse like a sailor, like sailor,
Sure.
you know. Uh, but uh, well, here's a question, which I used to ask this question, but about Betty White. But let's try doing something different.
Okay.
There's actually two questions. Who do you think will die first, Keith Richards or I forgot the guy's name. Damn. Mick Jagger.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Keith Richards recently, so I don't know how he's doing. But honestly, both of them seem to be living life to the fullest. They always go pretty hardcore, and they're having a lot of fun. So that's going to be a tight race, but I think Mick Jagger's gonna edge him out.
Okay. So Keith Richards.
Probably, but who knows, man? If I'm honest, I haven't seen any of them in front of the camera in a while. So, uh,
Apparently they're doing a new album, so that's why.
really,
Yeah, I heard they're doing a new album, and Mick Jagger has like, from what I hear, more than the Brady Bunch kind of kids.
really.
Yeah, so it's like spitting kids out like Pez dispensers.
Well, honestly, man, that keeps you young at heart.
Yeah,
So, maybe he will edge it out.
yeah, pretty much. And here's another question: what is the scariest, the attic or the basement?
Great question, man. The basement, I think. I think there's something about the basement because in the attic, there's the sense of like there might be like a window or some way to see the outside, or
Yeah.
you're higher up. With the basement, you're down below. It's just there's something psychological about that for me, where it's just you're lower than ground level. If there is a window, you're not going to see any sunlight. So I think the basement is scarier for me.
So that's where we're going to see Keith Richards in the basement.
That's where I don't know that I want to run into Keith Richards in the basement.
Imagine that shit though. You ain't going downstairs. Like, honey, can you go and get the stuff down the basement? Okay, no problem. You go out there. Hey, what up, mate? How you doing? No.
Yeah, right, exactly.
What the fuck is Keith Richards doing in my basement? Yeah.
Well, I do think there's some fantasy element to it as well, man. Because in Florida we don't have basements, so
That's right. Yeah.
so I don't really have any experience with them. So I think that's why they're more frightening to me too. Because it's always worse in your imagination.
You're more likely to find that alligator than Keith Richards.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's either that or huge fucking bugs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, both of them.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I'll stay on Long Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually went to Florida for I don't know if it's still there, the Okefenokee Swamp.
It is. Yep.
So, my wife at the time, oh wait, hold on. Let's see, Okie, I guess, Finoki, whatever. So I'll be able to find out. Anyway, so my wife at the time, she wanted to be a park ranger. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So we were together for like 7 years, married for like together 6 years, married for 7 years, and then she passed away with cancer. But prior to that, she wanted to be a park ranger. So she went to the school. She did this marine biology and do everything else, and so she's like, I was like, so you want to go on a trip or something? It'll be like our first trip together. She goes, yeah. I was thinking, how about we go to a swamp? And I'm like, a swamp? Really? Where? She goes, in Florida. Well, actually, no, Georgia, I think. Is it in Florida or Georgia? I forgot.
It's in Florida, I believe.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay.
Actually, no. I think it's in the southern part of Georgia. So I think you're right. I think it is in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
It's near Florida, but it's in Georgia, I think.
Yeah. Oh, now I remember. Yeah, we had to fly into Florida, and then we drove to Georgia because we couldn't really fly into Georgia for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's the Florida-Georgia line. You're right. I think there's parts in both.
Yeah, because you can cross over the different ones. Yeah,
Right.
I know that was so. So I'm like, well, anything to get out of Long Island. I'm like, all right, fine. And all of a sudden after she's like, well, we're gonna fly. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, and I'm not one for flying. I mean, I hate heights, but I was like, all right, as long as I'm drinking something. She goes, no, but you're driving. I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So it's supposed to be like I think it takes like an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3. I don't know. I thought it was an hour, but everybody's telling me, no, that's ridiculous. It's not an hour. So we go down there, got to rent a car, go over there. We went to the Isle of Horses like a couple of days after, and then we went to Okefenokee Swamp and oh my god, the shit that and when I talked to a couple of people from Florida, like there's the guy that does For the Booze and a Break On Through, we call it podcast. He's from Florida.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, there's a lot of alligators, and I'm like, oh, I know. I went to Okefenokee Swamp. I seen a lot of fucking alligators, and apparently they go 30 miles an hour, and I'm like,
yeah,
get in the car. We're going 80.
Yeah. One of our partners that we partner with frequently is a place called Gatorland in Florida, and we were just there this past Sunday filming a thing called Gator Palooza. And where we were filming at, we were surrounded by 130 alligators, and it's very real. It's they're dinosaurs, man. People forget that, but they're ancient, strong creatures. So we take them very serious.
Yeah, it's like, and even you don't want to go into the water in Florida wherever you're at, because they'll be anywhere.
Oh yeah, sneaking up on you.
Yeah, I mean, you see those like animal control like shows or what's that one show? I forgot what the name. It was like a guy. He looked like a rock star. He had like the rock star look, but he was like a exterminator, but he was like not an exterminator for just bugs. He was just like a quality animal control.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
but
Yeah.
he had like the look like he had like the sunglasses, but then he had like the spiky, like mohawk kind of looking hair,
Sure.
and then he'll have like the hat with all the spikes on it, and the leather pants and the vest, and walking in with the gloves, and they're like, "Are you the guy for the animals?" And it's like, "Yeah." He goes,
Right.
oh, great! I thought we like hired, you know, somebody from Culture Club, yeah,
Right. Right.
or some shit like that, yeah. And but then I saw that I was like, "Holy shit! Alligators here, there, rabbit and raccoons, skunks."
Yeah, they're everywhere, man. It's a wild swamp down here.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it. And even I got cousins living down there. I'm like, I come visit. No, I'd rather have biker gangs and
Sure.
and meth labs and all that.
Right.
I can deal with that. Alligators, no.
Right.
No, it's okay. The only kind of alligators I'm gonna have is like shoes, or like boots or something, which is like cowboy boots. I like those,
Right.
But in any case, so what? Well, we did, what's coming up. Tell everybody where they can find you at.
Yeah, man. So if you just do a Google search for Florida Men on Florida Man podcast, we're available on every major platform. Our social media handles are FMOFM podcast across the board. So it's relatively simple. Florida Man on Florida Man podcast. Yeah, we stream everywhere.
They might be on TikTok. They are definitely on Instagram. I know that because they just followed me. So,
That's
uh,
right.
and Twitter, and also people. If you go on Twitter, you can find out a lot more about everybody. On
Oh yeah.
Twitter got like it's like a Twitter family going on there. I mean, a Twitter family. I mean, there's a podcast family. There's like a horror community. There's like movie, fanatics.
There's something for everybody on Twitter.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not like your typical celebrities are always on there. I'm like, nah, nah.
Right.
You talk like Joe Schmoes like myself here and Wayne. So
A lot of fun, dude.
you get on there and we just if you ask questions, we got some kind of answers. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. But and also you follow the good old Squiddio here. You go to Linktree linktr.ee/ Tattoo Squid Podcast ta2 squid podcast, all one word, and it's a list of different stuff, and then you got like a merch site. So you go on there like we just talked about, bath mats and shower curtains and bears and llamas.
Get those shower curtains, bro.
Once we get the place, I'm getting a shower curtain. I'll
Come
take
on,
pictures
yeah.
Yeah, you'll be like, holy shit! It's like we gotta get one of those.
Yeah.
And even if you get the shower curtain, you don't have to put it in the shower. Just put it in your room. Just hang it across,
Yeah, right.
like this. This over here. You know,
It's a good look.
I know, right? It'll be like, oh, God, I can't wait. I'll be like, I'll spend money trying to get shit together. All I need now is like, and there is like, sorry, and there is women's spandex on there as well. There's no picture of me on there because I don't know the measurement for the picture, for that. So
Yeah.
I have to figure out a way, maybe we can iron it on or something. I don't know. But so at this point, we're just gonna go and we'll talk off camera. This is gonna be done. So everybody follow Florida Men on Florida Man, which is like pretty much a running myth with the Florida Man. And go out there, get your flea market stuff, go and get your merch from my store, their store, and everybody else's store.
Come
Actually, we
on.
should all try to go and just get shirts from everybody.
Support everybody. Yeah.
Actually, there's a guy that had the right idea. He he's buying the shirts and he's not even gonna wear them. He's just gonna post them on like all over the place. You know,
That's cool.
like
Yes.
like was it like the metal shirts? You know that we used to get like Megadeth and all that. You buy all
Right.
the different stuff and
Right.
you don't even wear it. You just put it on your wall and like a whole bunch of different.
That's cool. Yeah. Just
I might
show them
do
off.
that. I might do that for the podcast room.
That's cool.
Yeah, you know that way I have some more room in the closet. You know,
Right.
for anything else, I guess. You know, but everybody have a good night. Today's Friday. It's actually getting nice out, so and dark. But and hold on, I'm just enlarging this. Oh, a lot better. So, all right, everybody, have a good night. Take it easy. I'm gonna talk to Wayne a little bit more. All right, take it easy. Come on.